now. I'm very, 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 very much stepped back and just let the team run it now, which is magnificent. And I was thinking about the testimonials. I mean, truly, meeting you were fabulous, because truly, I was thinking, what were the real things I took from Richard? Firstly, I loved your company and your friendship, both you and Julie. I love the times up in London, and I'm still friends with people from the group, which is wonderful. If ever we get a moment, we can run things past each other. And I know Carly now works with my Google girl and my virtual assistant, which is marvelous, because I can see she's very busy as well. The little different bank accounts have been not only, I wish I'd met you 30 years ago, because not only did I do it for my salon, but I did it in my life as well, which is just life-changing. Because over the years, when you start to earn more money, and as you know, we don't just have a hairdressing business, we have a property portfolio as well, but the more money you get in, the more you get out, the more you spend. It's like, again, another analogy I often think of the toothpaste. When you've got loads of toothpaste, you're like, but when you haven't, you've only do little bits. But it's nice to have money, but to be frugal, because you've put them in different things and invested different things. So that is one of your golden moments. That is one of your gold star information. That's brilliant. The Airtable thing was brilliant, to see about systems, having proper systems in place, and just focusing on time wasting. But moreover, the figures. I mean, we still just do the figures on a weekly basis and find out clients that are coming in and clients that are going out. How many, last week we had 30 new clients. I can tell you that we have 30 new clients, but then you can see how many you're losing. And actually, since I've stepped back, I would say that we do lose more clients. So I'm still finding the same amount, but we're not having quite as many clients returning. Now, whether that is because I'm not there, constantly, and maybe that's the price you have to pay, that is why companies, managers struggle to step back, I think. The loss of just totally losing control of, I have to leave it to my management team. They're not me, but you have to balance, you have to pay the piper somewhere along the line. And that's something that I didn't realise. I think salon owners really need to know that there's going to be, that is going to happen. You can't set all this up and put all of the systems that you help us with and work out all your figures. Ignorance actually is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Is that? Oh, here, look, it's Richard on phone.
Yeah, mate.
How are you?
He's
Right,
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So that's something you do have to pay the piper. Thanks for this, Sonny.
Well,
Yeah. Well, I've got a question. I got some few questions that I want to ask. So
yeah, go on then.
You were a big salon. You had 20-something staff, and
Yeah.
you're one of our salon owners that came to us that wasn't coming to us because you were struggling. You were coming for something else. So
yeah,
what made you look for a coach?
Okay, so there had been COVID, firstly, and I was successful, but I was lonely. That was the main thing. I was lonely, and yeah, that was a big thing. Are you lonely? Should be one of your. Are you lonely? Because I had done so many years on my own. As you know, I've got a fabulous management team, but at the end of the day, I'd gone through COVID and I'd done it on my own. Everyone else was getting 80% furlough. And when you spoke to me, when I saw you, I firstly saw you, I think it might have even been just on Instagram somewhere. And you said something like that, or that's what I heard. And that, do you feel on your own? And I really did at that point. So that was the main thing. I was making really good money, as you know, my salon wasn't in trouble, but I was just sick and tired of doing it on my own. And the safe community, it was a bit like doing therapy, Richard, those lives. And that's why I just thought, when I saw you weren't going live, having a get together for the trains and all that, I just thought, I hope he doesn't lose something, the magic that was coming to those events, being in the classroom, but also going out to dinner and riding e-bikes around London and all the hilariously fun things that we did. It was a community that you could talk honestly and openly. I mean, there were, obviously it might have been because people had had a few glasses of wine, but tears, and people were able to be free with you. If you see on Instagram, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people saying that they're business coaches or they want to do a business, all of this kind of thing, Bosch Salon and the Hairdressing Society, all of that kind of thing. But being just online isn't always, those lives for me were magic. I still think of them now, they were magic.
And I agree. And I totally agree. I think meeting in people, and like this weekend, we're doing a live online, which is something we didn't want to do. There's a lot of people up north that were struggling to get down. I don't know what's wrong with the trains, but yeah. So another thing that I remember the conversation with you when we sort of promised Salon owners a 30% growth. And I remember you going, well, I don't think that's going to happen, because you had a really good salon already. And so what was your thought when you hear that we promised a 30% growth? Do you think it's a lie?
No. But actually, that's only a little part of it. That's just a bit like the icing on the cake, to get more knowledgeable with your figures and really dive into what's actually going on the back end. Because I think as creative people, we are quite fearful. I paid my accountant to give me monthly management reports, and I used to have a coffee and a chat with her over the phone, and she used to say to me, this is what's happening this month. But until you actually yourself see them down on paper, you see. And you said again to me another thing, that you went wrong when you got other people to be paying your bills and stuff like that, because you don't actually see what's going, all these little things that you think, oh yeah, because you see the thousands coming in, and you feel safe, but it's not until you think, I can save money on this and I can save money on that. And another live we did, we went through all our expenses and saw, I think I had 3 subscriptions of a Hairdresser's Journal that had been paying for bloody years. But I just, and some people are right on it, but most good hairdressers that are creative aren't good with the figure side. So in answer to your question, I'm rambling on again here, but I am giving you pearls of wisdom, little pearls that you can give me. That the 30%, was just the icing on the cake. It's much, much deeper. It's the tip of the iceberg. All the other things were much, much more than that. So it's strange.
It's strange when we speak to people at coaching and we say that, we'll make you more money, but that is only one part of it. There's so much more that you get. It's not just teaching, it's everything. It's the community. It's the fact is that, you get to know your business like you've never known it before. But you was always good. Like, you always came to lots of meetings and you consumed an awful lot. You were just like hungry wolves, you were.
Again, that was, if you're going to be paying you money, rightly so, it's not when somebody's starting out, especially if they're struggling a bit, or they don't have the turnover that I have, or they're not in my position in life, a newbie, it's quite a bit of money initially to lay out. You know, I can remember working out thinking, I mean, I spent, because I did lives, I spent much more with you, but I remember thinking, I think this is going to cost me about 3.5K a year. That's a lot of haircuts. That's what I thought. But what else I did was I broke it down into a week. And then I realized what I had to take extra, or what you had to help me take. And all of the things that you learn on those lives. And you don't really, when you join a gym and you don't go to the gym, or you get a gym coach and you make excuses not to see him, you're just wasting your money. You've got to commit in your own mind. You've got to commit to getting on them lives and talking and listening and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, that is, I think when you think about the how much it costs, I think another thing you've got to tell people is break that down into what it would cost you a week. Because
I think for us sometimes is not knowing some stuff as well, you know, and not knowing is costing you a lot of money as well as knowing, you know. I
also think, because I'm on my phone, if you keep seeing me swiping up, I'm on my phone.
Good.
And I keep Pop, I must just say, these speakers still on working, so we need to sort that out, and I'll finish here. But it didn't cost the amount of it was really inexpensive when you work out what it does for you. Because stuff, you know, I am still doing a lot of what your teachings are. I still do. I still send out emails every single week. We still every single week phone new clients and say, hi, how was your experience? Are you loving your hair? No, don't do it now, honey, please. So that kind of thing was really, really important. As I say, that's not the 30%.
No. And so let's just talk about you for a second. So in general, so not about me, but just generally about you, if you're going to give some advice to anyone out there that's maybe a bit struggling with their salons right now, like, how did you get to 20 staff, and how did you get your salon so successful? I know you invested in yourself, but what do you reckon the core element is to success?
Okay, I think train your team that they could lose you, but treat them like they never want to. And people do leave, and that's absolutely, you know, that's fine. They do leave. They do see, you know, I've had girls leave because they see what we have, and they've gone and they've tried it themselves, but they actually don't have what I've got. You know, I don't have that. They'll have to find their own way. But my team, people are afraid to invest in their team because of false pride, of fear that they're gonna. People do leave you. I mean, you say that too, and that was music to my ear. They do leave you, but people are afraid to really invest. You have to give it away to keep it. You have to give it away to keep it. And nowadays, I employ all my team. If you're anybody that's having self-employed people, I think are in big trouble, not just with HMRC, but also how can you build a business with self-employed people that are going to be fucking off at any minute? So whenever I see businesses that say employed or self-employed or looking for self-employed, I was just thinking, you're giving away a little part of your business that they can then take and go somewhere else. So I always employ people. I always put people on a pension, even though it's scary, because at the end of the year, whatever you've paid into the pension comes off of your corporation tax. So you don't lose, but what you do is you make your team feel much, much more secure. That's what I would say. Always send them on courses. And if you are struggling financially, you can be really creative about getting people on courses. You know, you can really be talking to your, you know, L'Oreal, for instance, are absolutely fabulous, and there's loads of free courses. So just investing in your team, and that doesn't mean being a pushover or being soft or being, because, you know, I'm certainly not that, but I try and make it possible. If somebody asks me, can they have a Saturday off? Of course they can. We make it possible. Hang on. I've told you about this before. Let me get. You've got to do this. This is a Nergish one, and this works every single time. This is Nergish, okay? My darling Nergish. Every salon needs to get their team to do a happy wheel.
Yep.
Do you remember the happy wheel? So it's
Yep.
a circle. I've done it this week. It's a circle, and it's cut into 4 bits, and they need to just write down 4 things that they want to achieve this year. It can be at home or at work. So it can be, you know what, one girl has learned to swim. I've booked her in swimming lessons. You know, it doesn't have to be in the salon. It can be, you know, buy a new pair of glasses. So we work out how much she's got to take so that she can, so each person has got an individual. So during the year, you're sort of investing in them. And when you do one-to-ones, you can go back to their happy wheel, and each section you can make a plan for it. You know, pass your driving theory. One of my little juniors wants to pass her driving theory. So I need her to do 15 treatments a week for the next 6 weeks until she's 17. And I'll pay for her to do her driving theory. That kind of thing. And if you think about it, it's a no-brainer.
Oh, it's amazing how many people. I mean, we learned this many years ago. You know, pay your staff well so they don't leave. You know, figure out how you can pay them what they want and give them what they want inside and outside of work.
I'll tell you, actually, you just reminded me. Sorry. What I did do is I did go and see Helen Ward. I've known her for many years, and I had lunch with her, and she said to me that she has converted all her team, because I had changed the way I paid my team to they had to take 3 times their salary. They get quite a high salary anyway. And then I paid them 30% on any time they took 3 times. And she said, I used to do a similar structure, but it was so fucking difficult. What I do is I do 35% end of. And that's been amazing since I've stepped back. Because by paying them an hourly rate, quite a higher hourly rate, they still don't mind if every now and again they have a no-show, even though I take deposits, but I only take £20, because what they earn, that £20 for that hour and their hourly rate, they're still on an okay kind of salary for that hour. So they didn't mind too much if they did have a no-show or that they had an hour at the end of the day, because I was still paying them. So even though they're employed, and they need to know that I'm not paying them 35% of what they take isn't an hourly rate. So if they're quiet at the end of the day, they can't go home, because it's only an equation for the 40 hours that they work for me. But I pay them 35% end of. So whatever they take, I pay them 35%. So it does make them quite keen to get those white spaces filled without me banging the drum behind them. Because I was away from the salon for 3.5 weeks. I didn't even think about the salon. Every time it popped into my head, I thought, no, this is where I've got to go. And that's been magnificent for me, because it sharpened them up. Because if they do have white space, they're not getting paid.
Yeah. There's quite a few people that do that. I think Karen, we used to work with in Scotland, had very similar to that. I think it was 37. I think hers was at the time. And there's a few people out there that have been bitten and did theirs at 45, which was way too high. But they were stuck with that scenario. But yeah, it's one of them ones where you have if they had no one booked in, it goes down to their hourly rate.
Oh no, I don't pay them. I don't pay them.
Oh, it's just 35% straight off the bat.
35% straight off the bat, because there are times at Christmas where they're earning an absolute fracking fortune.
Yeah.
So it swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
And mostly they're busy. We've got a 30% sale this January. And so they're having to all work a bit harder. But what I've explained to them is better to fill that hour at 30% less than not have anything at all, because it is much tougher. I don't know. Have you found your salons are finding it much tougher now? People are coming back longer, taking longer to come back.
I think everybody had a very scary either October or November, so that everyone had a very scary one. December was through the roof. Everyone had an astonishing December. Everyone broke records. But we knew, and we've been planning for this, that we think January and February is going to be like off a cliff, like it's going to be so hard to drag people back. And I think a lot of people, the vibe that I got out there was, it was like everyone was going, let's just spend and spend and spend. But once we hit Christmas out of the way, we're going to stop again. So I think, yeah, I agree. I think everyone's suddenly gone, what's happened? The first 2 weeks in January suddenly gone very quiet. So yeah, I think trying to get them back at any cost is the key right now. So that's good that you've got a deal going out then. Is it working for you?
Yeah, and every day we get we're doing a little profile of each team member. So I'm just getting some videos. We're having a little 1-minute video shot there saying who they are, how long they've been at Eden. They're also saying my cut and blow dries or my balayage or whatever they prefer to do, they can choose, is this amount, but with your 30% voucher that you download off the computer. So also what they're doing is every time people are getting 30%, I'm collecting my next mail merge, because they're then having to actually register to get their 30%. They can't just show me a voucher, or they have to actually register for it. Yeah, it's absolutely fabulous. And every single day we're putting out at the moment a little profile just saying I'm Becky and this is what I love doing, and when I'm not in the salon, this is what I love doing. Yeah, it's good.
I love that. All right, well, let's wrap up. And hopefully when people get to see this, because I'm going to get to all the clients, we're going to go to every single one of them's going to do one. Because I think there's some people out there that, well, let me give an example. So you said something earlier on, which is really, really hot a topic right now, is that I spoke to someone on Thursday who is taking about 100K. That's all. They've got 6 staff, but 5 are self-employed. So, and they're only paying 30 a day to be in the salon, but they're taking 500 a day. And she's trying to put the price up and they're going, we're not paying any more than that. So all her salon, like she lives in a village. So the salon's big enough to cope with 6 stylists, but she's only getting money from 1.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And also, not just that, very, very, very shortly, let me tell you, the inland revenue are going to come down like a ton of bricks, because to be self-employed, and I don't know if you know this, but you have to take money. You can't take money through your till. You can't take bookings through your phone. You can't take have the same days of the week that you're actually working in the salon, and you're meant to also have a different entrance that you come in from. And what the Inland Revenue are going to actually say to you soon is, they're not self-employed, they're employed, and you are liable for their NI and tax. And they'll then clear off because they don't want to be any part of it, and you will be liable. It's all going to come crashing down.
Well,
so,
I think I thought I was the only one saying it's not going to last. I don't think it's going to last.
No. And they've got no commitment to you. And if they're having a bad day, they can just think, oh, I'll clear off and I'll go and take my clients down to another salon. Whereas if they're having a bad day and they're PAYE, they think, oh, I'm going to have to move my pension and I got my holiday allowance and all of that kind of thing. And by the time they thought about that, they've got through the other side and everything's hunky-dory again.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you
with
know,
you, and I think people don't realise that if they say at the moment 50% of our industry has gone self-employed. Now, to me, that means 50% are trying to not dodge VAT, but the VAT, the government's getting a lot less VAT from our industry.
yeah.
They're not going to lower it to 5% right now. They're not even getting enough of us. So they're going to start forcing it into people and go, hold on, you really are. I mean, a conversation again, what happened on Friday was this lady said to me, I spoke to my accountant and we're going to chop my business into two. We're going to do the hair part is going to be one business. And then I'm going to get employed by another business and rent a chair off myself. And I'm thinking there's some bad advice out there. Like it's
Yeah.
one business. Why are you trying to chop it all up? I've seen the worst one was one business had 4 businesses in it and she was in all 4 businesses. You know, one was hair
But
extensions,
they're
one was
gonna get
color.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on. They got to. You can't keep dodging it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, no. And actually, how can you build a business on dodgy foundations? If you
Yeah.
really truly want to build an empire, you cannot build it on dodgy foundations.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. Well, Angie, it's been great talking to you as always.
okay, but just before you go, I always, you know, I always think of you and Julie. Always grateful for everything you've done. Hopefully, we can always stay in touch because you were marvelous. You were absolutely marvelous, and I loved working with the both of you. So I hope the sun shines on everything you do in 2024. And I still watch you going on, and I wish you all the luck.